All right, so we're visiting the site of the old Giordani racetrack right here. This house, who Jeff and Mel Barney own now, used to be Giordani's restaurant. And I have my dad with me, my nephew Danny, and we're just going to take a ride in. Okay. So
this area was all clear. This was parking lot, and where spectators stood. As I recall, approaching down this road was very close to the center of the track. I think the flag stand was just a little bit to the left.
Now, you said the aerial view that I posted and whatnot, that the back stretch was close to the railroad tracks, correct?
Yep.
So you and 3 and 4 would have been over here, and the pit area was here, right?
1 and 2 was here. Front stretch was on this side.
Okay, 1 and 2.
So this was 1 and 2.
Is this where the pit area was?
And 1 and 2 turns, I'm guessing, was somewheres by this house or between the house and the shed over there. It's hard to tell. It's so grown up since then,
But the pit area you said was off 3 and 4, right?
Yes.
That's what okay, the aerial picture kind of showed that.
Yeah.
All right, so this was 1 and 2.
And this was all wide open.
Yeah.
There was no trees, no nothing, so you can see it's been a while.
Well, in the aerial view, it looked like these houses here were in the infield. So the railroad tracks are over behind these houses.
Yes.
So right now, would this road have been on the old racetrack? Or was it closer to over there? Okay.
No, this was somewheres in the middle of the racetrack.
Okay. So it would have been more over.
I think that house right there probably would have been on the front stretch.
Okay. And that's the back stretch over there.
Yeah.
So I bet if we get out sometime, we're gonna do this sometime. We could walk over. I have to get permission from the landowners. But see, they've got stuff out in their backyard.
And this area has grown up quite a lot, but the pit area was over in here.
Uh-huh.
And this is about, I think it ended before. We're probably off the south end of the track right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, this little turnaround kind of showed up in some of the old photos, too. I'm going to keep this on. I'm going to just turn around in Wanda's driveway. I tagged her in my post, the poor thing. So nothing was down there where Bressers has their garden and stuff?
I don't recall that anybody ever went down over that bank either.
Yeah, and the railroad tracks would be right down.
Yeah.
Just right behind here, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Boy, this has grown up wicked.
Yeah. Well, they've turned it into a beautiful community.
Yeah. But I can understand
in the aerial,
this was 70 years ago.
Yes. In the aerial pictures, where this turnout is now, definitely shows as like being 3 and 4. You know, right in the 3 and 4 area, and like you said, the pit area.
Pit area is, see, this has grown up and it's all smaller trees, but this was much wider, and a lot of them left their race cars right there during the week.
Yeah. I bet you anything, if you walk into that woods, you're going to find some old remnants, too.
Yeah, could be.
Jerry Clucci did tell me once that when he was, you know, building, he was the first house down here. When he was building it, that he did find stuff from the old racetrack.
And before this was a housing development, it was an airport.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, people were talking about that on Facebook this morning. So that would have been the front stretch over there, where these houses are.
Yeah.
Back stretch over here.
In fact, when I was in flight training, I've landed here several times.
Really?
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was the restaurant, and it was right here.
After it was a racetrack, a guy from Jesus, if I remember right, Connecticut bought this, and he had a camper trailer here, and he owned a plane, and
I remember that.
he landed here, and one time on his way home, being up here for the weekend, on his way home he crashed and was killed, him and his wife.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I was little, but I remember that story.
Yeah. And somewhere's right over in here was 2 airplane hangars.
I think I remember that. I think you brought me over.
Uncle Don had a hangar for his plane, and Civil Air Patrol had a hangar for theirs.
So this came along after the racetrack.
It was the racetrack, yeah.
Okay, because some of the aerial photos you can see where it was the racetrack was definitely going away. So, all right, go back to tell me what you told me at home about Jay Gould, Doc Gilchrist.
Oh yeah, they
Pete, the one that was killed in Vietnam.
Yeah, Pete Moran. No, Korea.
Korea, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he was a good friend of mine. He raced here. Jay Gould had 3 cars that raced here, 333 and 333. And when I started racing in Waterford, I had 333.
That's awesome. And you said...
Yeah, it was a 19, if I remember right, and Wayne Gilchrist could correct me on this if I'm wrong. I believe it was a 34 Ford Coupe. It was that vintage anyway. I remember the car. And I was looking, I just got out of the service, and I was looking for a race car. Couldn't find one anywhere. Doc wouldn't sell me that one, but he told me that I could use it. So then I used it for 1 year at Waterford, and Wayne decided then that he wanted to race at Waterford, and I think he ran 1 race, and he rolled over, and I think that messed up his shorts, and he decided not to race anymore.
Probably. Now, you said Les Emerson and Jay Gould drove the other 2 cars.
Yeah, Les Emerson drove 3, and Frank Richards drove 33, and Jay Gould drove 333.
And that was all at Giordano's.
Yeah.
Now, and Jay Gould, of course, was one of the ones that built Riverside Speedway, but did they ever go over and race in Waterford when Waterford started?
Not that I recall. The only car went over there was the one I had.
So, what year, approximately, good guess, did Giordano's close? Early 50s? Mid 50s?
Nah, I'm going to say mid 50s.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember why it closed?
No idea. It's just one of them things that
They did for a while and
comes and goes, yeah?
Yeah. And then, so that closed, and then Waterford opened. Of course, Waterford was open until 66.
Yeah, Waterford opened 59.
Yeah, and then they ran until 66. And then, of course, Riverside, Thunder Road, Oxford, they opened all around 64. You said there were 2 other racetracks that I had no clue about until you just told me that this morning. Concord, Vermont, and Lyndonville.
I think the road's called Crossroad. That goes from Route 2 across to 18 to get to the Waterford track. And there was a track like halfway over. And then there was one somewheres that I'm not sure of the site, but somewheres between Lyndonville and St. Johnsbury called something Flats.
And those, what year or proximity of the time was that?
I think they were, I know they were. They were before Waterford's.
Okay, so probably 40s.
They were mid-50s.
Oh, mid-50s, okay. So, Giordano's, do you remember how old you were or what year, maybe when they opened? You said you were pretty young.
I'm going to say, late 40s they opened up.
And then you used to take a farm truck down and sit in the back of it to watch it.
Yeah.
What year was that farm truck?
Truck was a 1948 Dodge.
And so did the rest of your family go, or just?
Yeah. Well, my mother never did, but my father and sister and brothers.
How come your mother wouldn't go?
I don't know. She just wasn't into racing, I guess. I thought us people that were had a mental problem.
Yes, I actually kind of remember that. Wow, that's interesting. Now, whatever happened, so Giordano's, they had the restaurant. Did they stay here and, for the rest of their lives, or what happened to them?
They sold it to, I can't remember. I remember the two daughters. One was a little older than me, a year older, and one was a year younger. And I can't remember their last name, but...
Did they move away?
Then Giordano's went somewhere or passed on. I'm not sure what happened to him.
Yeah.
But, and then after that, it's still, these people that bought it still ran the restaurant for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
yeah, a lot of people, when I posted it on Facebook, seem to remember the restaurant, and there were quite a few that remembered the airport and the racetrack as well.
And then after that, it just closed up and sat idle for a while. And then I can't remember if somebody bought it before Jeff Barney did, or what the story was.
Well, Frazios lived there when we were kids.
Okay.
Frazios lived there, and then Jeff, Jeff, I think Paris's, or something with Frazios. I remember Claire, I think Paris living there for a while.
Yeah, that's right. Camille Frazio and Ray Jean and the kids lived there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then...
I think they're the ones converted it to a home.
Yeah, and then Jeff and Mel bought it.
Yeah.
And then Jerry, and I don't know. I mean, I work in the town office, so I could easily go and research some of this stuff at some point when I have time. But Jerry Clucci bought the land out back and made the housing development that's
very
there
nice.
now.
Beautiful development.
He has, and I do know he did tell me that he did, he saw some stuff that from way back when with the racetrack. I don't know what he found, but sometime I'm gonna ask Wanda if we can, if she wouldn't mind us kind of going over there, and especially where the pit area was. That would be probably, if we were going to find anything, it would be in the woods where the pit area used to be.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's still some remnants, and yes, I'd like to check it out, because I'd love to find some remnants of them old
Yeah, it would be
cars.
cool to take some pictures and stuff. So I'll check with Wanda. I'm sure she'd join us. Actually, she probably would get a kick out of it too. And Jerry, maybe even her kids. I don't know. But anyways, and then we'll have to go up. Do you remember when Jack Call and McLean's were working on the one on the hill? Did you ever go up when they were starting to build that?
I was very interested, because I was ready to go racing again.
So what? How much of that track did they get built?
I don't know. The infield was fairly well cleared out and so on, and then they run into solid ledge. That brought it to an end, and they went up, and I can't remember. I'm assuming the McLean's bought the field where the racetrack is now.
Right, and then Jay Gould, of course, had something to do with that
McLean
too.
and Doc, and I can't remember Doc McLean's proper name. Everybody knew him as Doc, just like Doc Gilchrist.
Right. So, when they were building the track up on the hill, did you have to? It was kind of like off Maple Street, from what I was saying, like the top of the hill, and there was an access road to it. And back then, it was mostly like farm fields and stuff up there, right?
Yeah.
So they just basically took some of that farm field and cleared it.
And it's probably just as well that it never was completed, because it would have been a major traffic problem in Groveton.
Well, right, because it turned so residential because of the paper mill there.
Yeah.
That, yes, people would have complained for sure. The picture that I posted this morning, the one of the bulldozer with Jack and which McLean was on the bulldozer?
Chet.
Okay, Chet, yeah. Young Jack Call said that one was on Maple Street side. sort of like I guess the southern side of what they were building. That was going to be the infield. They did stop, but over the years, how long was it when they were building that before they built the other track? When between the time they stopped, I mean, they were obviously pretty adamant they were going to build a racetrack somewhere.
Yeah, it had to be between 61 and 64. Well, it was they had to quit before that because they had the other one all done in 64.
Right, so you think maybe
So
the
it
late
was-
50 or 1960, somewhere in that area?
Yeah.
Now, the McLeans bought that. Did Jack Call go up and help them build the new one? Do you remember that?
I don't recall. I really don't remember.
Yeah, but they're...
He probably did, but
There's a lot of good history there, that's for sure. Groveton or Northumberland has a lot of racing routes, more than what people realize. I think. So I like, at some point I would love to have some sort of historical markers. I would love to get more pictures. I'm going to, some of the people that you mentioned, it would be awesome to get a hold of their families and see if they have any pictures left. From what Jack said, he has some the plans and stuff like that still from when his grandfather was building that, because where Jack's father and grandfather grew up was right up where the track was going to be.
yeah.
So anyways, interesting. Well, we'll have to go walk that, take some more video sometime
sure.
soon.